What the topic of this brief little preview is going to be is about happiness. Happiness is something that's getting a lot of commentary in a variety of different places. You see positive psychologists talking about it. Everybody seems to be into this positive health type of idea. Phil and I have spent actually a couple lunches in Sarasota talking about happiness, and we keep coming back to the idea that started in Bhutan, where the government there decided that gross national product was not enough to measure the health of a capitalistic society or an economy, that we really needed to start focusing on this idea of what happiness was, and how do you measure happiness? And since then, there's been quite a bit of work done on how do you measure and define happiness. Happiness is certainly the emotion that I feel standing up here with you all with this award, but happiness is also a satisfaction one has with one's life. And another element of satisfaction is also the idea of purpose, so that when you have a happy emotion, high satisfaction with your life, and a sense of purpose, that seems to be what is a measure of happiness in today's world. And what makes that important is that happiness as a measure of society's health is not something that's just happening in Bhutan. It's not something that just happens in places like Costa Rica. But you've got the governments of France, you've got the governments of Australia, the governments in England, you have the OECD, you have the Centers for Disease Control here in the States, and some of you might even remember from your U.S. history that we have this little document that the country was founded on that says pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. And to kind of go along with the theme, Phil, that you started this morning, I think one of the things we need to start thinking about in social marketing, and that I touched on at the end of my book, was this theme of happiness and well-being. How do we as marketers start pulling ourselves out of, and no intention of a slight here, because I've been in this business myself, but how do we pull ourselves out of the mire of some of the things we have to deal with every day and start focusing on the more positive things that most people in this world aspire to? And that's not just to be healthy, and that's not just to be productive, but that is to be happy or have that sense of well-being that goes along with a sense of life satisfaction, positive affect, and a purpose in life. So one of the things I want to start challenging us to think about from this conference forward is, why can't we start marketing happiness? The UN has a declaration. There is now a World Happiness Day in March. And this past year, World Happiness Day actually got a little bit of press, and it popped up on my radar screen. I think as social marketers, we should run the National Happiness or World Happiness Day. There's a World Happiness Index report that comes out now every year from the UN. We should be part of that conversation as well. Because I think that if we want to put a narrative together about where marketing can go and how it's different from economics and behavioral economics or even positive psychology, I think that's a platform that gives us a chance to speak about ourselves in ways that we haven't been able to do so before. So I'm going to put on something here that's my imagination for what a campaign for World Happiness Day could look like. And just give me a second here to find it. Hopefully it's here shortly. Okay, perfect. This past year, some of you might recognize that there is a narrative to happiness, and Pharrell Williams was kind enough to not only write a song, but he actually granted permission for the World Happiness Day organizers that anybody in the world could use this song to create videos. So if you heard, I'm a marketer, I'm also a social media person, very big into collaboration ideas and especially user-generated content. Here is a great example of what was a user-generated campaign with no money, no budget, and not enough marketing behind it. I think we can do something even bigger and better with this next year. Hundreds of cities have put YouTube posts up talking about happiness. One of my favorite ones is Paris. That's a little long, but this one, and I'll just say it's from Tel Aviv, also kind of gets the point across about what a marketing program for happiness could look like at least one day of the year. So for any of you who need to kind of get up and move around, here's a good chance to do that.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Because I'm clap along if you know
what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's
So I'm going to suggest to the International Social Marketing Association, I'm going to suggest to Dr. Kotler to be our honorary chairman for this campaign. I'm also going to suggest to the Australian Association of Social Marketers, some of whom are here. I'm going to suggest to the European Association of Social Marketers, some of them are here. And I'm going to suggest to the new folks who are creating the North American Social Marketing Association that we come together and create, and to the UN, a proposal to run World Happiness Day and show them how we apply social marketing to improve human well-being and the human condition.